Being recording. Now, hopefully, I am recording and it's just me, so that's good. Hello, everybody, if you're joining. And oh, I've got it sorted. I will see you on my phone, and I've got this here. Sorry. Let's start. We're going to start by getting into child's pose. That should be comfortable enough for all of you. If that's not comfortable, just any comfortable, relaxed position to start. But for most of us, can we get into child's pose? And it doesn't matter if you can have your knees wide or together. Oh, someone else is joining. That's Michelle. Michelle, are you there? Have you joined us?
I have. I've managed to find a quiet space.
Fabulous. Okay, well, we are starting by getting into child's pose, which should be fine for most of us. If not, just any comfortable, relaxed position, back, front, even sitting, but otherwise, child's pose. You can have your knees wide, you can have your arms stretched out, whatever feels nice, just to relax into child's pose for a moment. And so just as usual, to start mark the start of the practice, just encourage yourself to settle, even if that's just pondering the word settle, pondering the word soften, and just turning your attention to the shoulders, perhaps the upper back, noticing if they're feeling at all tense, or if you're tensing there, see if you can just ease that tension away. Same with the mid-back, lower back. And then just allow the belly to soften and become loose as well. The jaw, the tongue. And then just notice the points at which you're touching the earth, and see if you can just surrender a little bit more into that idea of being held by gravity. So really allowing yourself to stop holding on just for a few moments, allowing the gravity, the earth beneath you, to perhaps carry the tension or the stress that you might have been holding in your body this morning. And encouraging the breath to come down into the belly. Not making any effort to alter the breath, but just encouraging it down a bit deeper. Just watching as the belly expands on the in-breath. And if they're not already stretched out now, just stretching out the arms, stretching out the fingers, reaching with the fingertips. And just feeling into the sensation of the spine elongating, any tension, any nooks, easing away, a bit more space coming between the vertebra. Like a dog or a cat stretching out. Enjoying that sensation of elongating, of easing out any chinks. Just stay there for a couple of breaths. And then on your next out breath, rolling up so that you're in a kneeling position. And if that's not comfortable for you, if kneeling is not comfortable for you, you can just come into a seated position. But otherwise, staying kneeling, sitting upright, just gazing softly ahead, soft focus, maybe perhaps slightly blurry vision. Just roll the shoulders a little bit, one way than the other. Working with the idea of the shoulders, the shoulder blades being loose and supple, of there being space in the chest, front, upper back. And then tuck the pelvis, drop the head, make a little C shape with the spine on the out breath. And then in breath, head floats up, unravel. And then just lift the chin ever so slightly, draw the shoulder blades down, heart coming a little bit forwards and up. And then just really work with the idea of the chest opening and expanding, feel the air flow in. And then out breath, tuck again, drop the head, starting to engage the core slightly, the belly button's going back towards the spine. And then in breath, floating up, chest expanding, heart forwards a little bit up, chin a little bit lifted, really drawing the shoulders down, shoulder blades opening. And then breathing out, back to the C shape. In breath, floating up, shoulders down. A little bit faster, out and in. And feel free to make a lot of noise on the out breath, really down and in. Tucking in. Heart up, chest open, air flowing in and breathing out, tucking, working with the abdominals. And then come back to a neutral position. And then if you are kneeling, we're going to tuck the toes under to give ourselves a bit of a toe stretch, bringing the hands together at the heart. Soft gaze forwards. This is goddess pose. Lift up on the pelvic floor, but keep the face soft. Engage the core slightly. And if being on your knees like this is not comfortable for you, you could just come up onto the hands and knees and you can work to stretch out the toes that way. And while you're doing that, engage the core as well. But otherwise, we're staying in goddess pose for a few breaths. Keep drawing the shoulders down gently. Lifting up on the pelvic floor still, just slightly. Getting the stretch in the toes there. Face soft. And then you can stay kneeling, or you can come to, if that's not comfortable for you, then you can come to any kind of easy seat, cross-legged or one leg in front of the other. And we're just going to bring the arms up, push out, keep the shoulders down. Just waking up the arms now. Little circles, one way, the other way. And then push. And then some circles with the wrists, bringing some heat, waking up the wrists before we put any weight on them. One way, then the other way. And then push again. And drop the fingertips down, keep the shoulders down, face relaxed, core slightly engaged, hold it there. And then dropping one hand down, reaching over for a side stretch. And then floating to the other side. And then coming back up onto all fours. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And then from here, we're going to turn the head to look towards the right hip, turning that hip, lifting that hip towards the head. So the hip is coming to meet the gaze. And then float round to do that on the other side, turning to look at the left. And then the other side. So you're making like a C shape here as the hip comes to meet your gaze. And then the other side. And then back to neutral. And then we're going to come into a gentle camel flow. We've done this as part of more of a sun salute style flow. So taking a breath out, hips are going back, gaze down towards the mat, draw the hands along the mat, bring the hands behind you, and then just lift the hips, lift the chest, but we're not flopping right back. We're keeping that gaze forwards, breathing in. And then breathing out, the hands are gliding forwards. And then we're going to come to lean a little bit forwards over those wrists. And then breathing out, we're going to glide back again. Breathing in, lifting the hips, lifting the chest. Breathing out, hands gliding forwards, coming over the wrists. Breathing in, coming back. So this is just working with the breath, breathing in, lifting, gazing. Breathing out, coming forwards, over the wrists. Again, you can make a lot of noise with the breath. Breathing in, so not with the in-breath necessarily, but with the out-breath. Breathing in, and then breathing out, long out breath. Breathing in. Chest expanding, hips lifting. And then breathing out. Let's do one more, breathing in. Breathing out, coming forwards over the wrists. And then push back to child's pose just for a couple of breaths. Allow yourself to completely flop, belly loose, upper back relaxing, mid back relaxing, face soft, lower back relaxing, tension softening away. Fingers relaxed, unclenched. Okay, then coming back up onto all fours. Then tucking the toes under, lifting the hips, coming into a downward dog. And so first downward dog of the morning, might be feeling a little bit stiff, so let's just walk the feet, stretching out the back of the legs. Keep doing that. And then come back into the stretch by coming up onto the tiptoes and then easing the heels down, hips going up towards sky, gazing towards the knees. Think of there being lots of space between the shoulders. Reach out with the fingertips. Reach out with every finger. Draw that belly button a little way back towards the spine and imagine the spine being super long. And then taking a breath in, lifting up the right leg. Keep lifting it up. And then breath out, draw that right knee towards your forehead, coming forwards a little bit. And then breathing in, legs coming back up. And again, breathing out, that knee coming towards the forehead. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, knee towards forehead, come forwards a little bit as you do that. And then breathing in, legs back up. And this time, as you breathe out, bring the foot between the hands. And then come up to a crescent, lifting the arms. Hold it here. Keep drawing those shoulders down, arms up, reaching out with the fingers. Soft gaze forwards, holding it steady, hips facing forwards, back leg straight. And then bring the hands together at the heart and come round to a twist. So we're bringing the left elbow over the right knee. If that's not comfortable for you, you can bring the hand down and ease into a twist that way. But otherwise, coming into our standing twist. A couple of steady breaths here. And then on the out breath, bring the hands down, hips facing forward, step that back foot to join the front foot. And then breathing up into a chair pose. Holding it here, gazing forwards. So you're sitting back down into the chair. Soft gaze. Couple of breaths. Bit of heat coming into the quads here. And then on an out breath, bring the hands down, roll up, breathing in, drawing the arms up, looking up. And then breathing out, widening the hands, folding down, swan diving down. Hands come down. Now you can either step or jump back into a plank. And then breathing out, draw the knees, chest, chin to floor. Breathing in, scooping up into a cobra. And then breathing out into a downward dog. And you've got the choice here, you can either rest in downward dog or you can rest for a moment in child's pose. If you're feeling a bit more energetic this morning, you might want to stay in downward dog. If you feel like a little bit of a rest before we go and do that on the other side, come down into child's pose. A few moments of steady stillness as we get ready to do that on the left side. So we're starting from wherever you are, let's ease ourselves up, if you're not already there, into downward dog. Hips to sky, back long, space between shoulders, fingers spread out. Take a breath in, lift the left leg this time. Breathing out, drawing the left knee to the forehead. Breathing in, lifting the leg again. Breathing out, knee to forehead. Breathing in, leg floats up. Breathing out, knee to forehead. Breathing in, lifting up. This time as we breathe out, we're stepping that foot between the hands and coming up into crescent pose. Hips forward, arms up, fingers reaching, shoulders down. A few steady breaths here. And then we're going to come down into our twist. Your hands at the heart, twisting round, right elbow over left knee. A few breaths here. And you can bring the hands down to steady you if you prefer. And you can even bring up that other hand if that feels good. But otherwise, in that prayer position, like this, but the other way. A few breaths. Back leg is straight. Belly button making its way back towards the spine, core engaged. Chest open, spacious. And then next out breath, hands are coming down, back foot's coming back to join the front foot. And then we're breathing up into chair. Holding that there. Equal distance between the knees and feet. Powering into those quads. Feet rooted into the earth, shoulders are down, face is relaxed, belly button going back. And then breath out, drop the hands, tuck the tailbone, breathing in, floating up. Reaching up, and then breathing out, swan diving down. And again, you can step back into plank or jump. And then breathing out, coming down, knees, chest, chin to floor. Breathing in, cobra. And then breathing out, downward dog. And then everybody come down into child's pose, just for a few breaths. Because we're going to do that again, but quicker. Flow through both sides at a bit more of a pace. So have a good little micro rest. Encourage every ounce of your body to surrender, soften. True rest for a few moments before we power on. And then when you're ready, let's come back up into downward dog. And straight away, right foot's coming up. Breathing out, knee to forehead. Breathing in, right foot up. Breathing out, knee to forehead. Breathing in, right foot up. Breathing out, knee to forehead. Breathing out, right foot up. Breathing out, foot comes between the feet, the hands. Coming into crescent, steady here. Couple of breaths. And then coming down into that twist. Back leg straight, that's a reminder to me as much as anyone else. Keep drawing the belly button back. And then hands down, back foot comes forward. Breathing into chair. Breathing out, drop the hands, tuck the tailbone, reach up, breathing in. Breathing out, swan diving down. Hands to feet. And then jumping or stepping back to plank. Breathing out, coming down. Breathing in, cobra. Breathing out, downward dog. Couple of breaths here. And breathing in, lifting the left foot. Breathing out, forehead, knee to forehead, sorry. Breathing in, left foot up. Breathing out.
How distracted that back is. Sorry.
Breathing out. Breathing in, I've lost count, but let's just put the foot between the hands now. Up to crescent. Steady here. Couple of breaths. Shoulders down, reaching up, face soft. And then breathing out into that twist. Maybe you can have your hands down here, have one hand down if that's better. And then hands to mat, back foot joins the front foot. Breathe it up into chair. Breathing out, drop the hands, tuck the tailbone, reaching up as you breathe in. Breathe out, arms wide, swan dive down. And then jumping back. Breathing out, coming down. Breathing in, cobra. Breathing out, downward dog. And then drop the knees, drop the forehead. Rest in child's pose. Few breaths here. Belly soft. Scan of the body anywhere you think you might be holding on, that you can let go, allow to soften, encourage or invite to relax a little bit more. Notice how the breath starts to settle. Encourage the belly to stay soft, Perhaps start to encourage those out breaths to be a little bit longer. Gentle encouragement, not trying to strongly manipulate the breath here. Just a few more moments of stillness. And then in your own time, slowly and steadily making your way up to standing. Gently does it so we don't get a head rush. I've got two screens, which is why I keep looking if I went. So when you're ready, let's just roll the shoulders out a little bit. Face relax one way, then the other way. And then coming to the side, the top side of your mat, top side. Feet together. And then we're just going to step without too much precision into a warrior two, gliding down. And then we're going to come back to the start position. And we're just going to move through that flow, drawing circles with the hands as we do that. Keeping the shoulders loose, stepping, coming back, up and down. Breathing in as we come up, out as we step down. And again, you can do nice loud breaths, breathing in and out. Fully exhale, in and out. Really turn your attention to your shoulder blades here as they work to move the arms in those circles. In and out. In and out. Next time, hold it down in warrior two. You might want to check that your heel is in line with the arch of your foot now. You might want to come down a little bit lower. Start to really draw those shoulders down. Making sure that you're pulling up on that back kneecap, drawing these quads, rotating them in. Belly button's going back, pelvic floor is up. You're not scrunching with the toes are spread out. Feet rooted into the earth. A couple of steady breaths here. And on your next in-breath, come into a reverse warrior, keeping that front leg bent. Breathe out, back to warrior two. Lean forwards. Bring the arm down onto the top of the leg there and reach over. Side angle, so you've got that line from the hand, the arm, down to the leg. Reaching. And if you're feeling super strong this morning, you might want to bring the other arm up, using your core strength to keep you here. And then breathe out, bring the hands down, come up, straighten the leg. Roll the shoulders one way, then the other way. And then we'll come into triangle. So your arms are up, hips are going that way, reaching, and then the hand floats down. And we're imagining ourselves between two sheets of glass, chest open, shoulder blade at the back there coming down, helping us to open the chest. Legs are straight. And then next out breath, coming up, keeping the legs straight, coming into reverse triangle. Hand comes down the back of the leg there and then reaching the other way. And then windmill the arms down to the mat on either, put the fingertips on either side of the foot there, keeping the legs straight. Pyramid pose. A couple of breaths here. And then bring the hands fully down to the mat. You can bend that knee now, and then step back into plank. And then flow down. And then breathing into cobra. Breathing out, downward dog. A couple of breaths here. And then drop the knees, drop the forehead, have your arms outstretched or alongside you. Come into child's pose for a couple of breaths, rest. Before we do that on the other side. Again, just encouraging your body and your being to completely surrender for a couple of breaths. A little micro rest. And then in your own time, and starting with the out breath, start to unravel and bring yourself back up to standing. We'll do that sequence on the other side. So coming to the other side of your mat. Getting the body ready. And then we're starting by doing that flow into a kind of non-specific warrior two, just floating down, circling with the arms, breathing in and out. In and out. And really exaggerate the breath. Really breathing in and then out. Charging the body up. Firing yourself up. Notice the movement of the shoulders, the strength and flexibility in the shoulders. Next time, hold it down in warrior two. And again, you might want to just adjust the feet, check where you are. You might want to come lower, make sure the back leg is straight, quads turning in, pelvic floor up. Still lots of space in the chest, arms super long, shoulders down, fingers reaching, holding it steady here. Noticing the power in that stillness. Feel the feet firmly rooted into the earth. Nothing can knock you over. And then breathing in into a reverse warrior. Reaching. Nice stretch all down the side of the body there. And then coming back into the warrior two, reaching forward a little, bringing the arm down, and then reaching up, long line, arm to leg. And then if you want to work a bit more with the core strength, bringing the other arm to join. Keep the shoulders down. And then coming back up, straighten the leg. Roll the shoulders one way, then the other way. And then coming into a triangle, so hips going that way, then we reach drop the hand down, slip ourselves between those two sheets of glass, chest open, legs straight. Couple of breaths here. And then breathing out, coming up, reverse triangle, stretching into it the other way. The shoulders coming down. It's a space between the ear, the shoulder. Legs are still nice and straight.
Okay.
Reach, reach, reach.
You know my thing. I wanted to get a book out, and one of my things fell off and I snapped. Or what fell off? One of my, my book.
Milling the hands down into pyramid pose. The legs are straight. Fingertips either side of the foot.
You alright? Yeah, it's giving me a shock. Have you got a lesson? Are you in the middle of a lesson?
Yeah. And then step back to plank. And then breathe out, coming down. Breathing in, lifting the chest. And then breathing out to downward dog. Hips to sky, long back, fingers reaching out, encouraging the heels towards the mat. Doesn't matter if they don't get there, mine really do. And then drop the knees, drop the head. Child's pose, few breaths. Full big breaths into the belly. Allow the breath to settle. Hands to flop, toes to flop, relax. Feet enjoying not bearing weight for a few moments. Whole body, whole being being held by gravity. And then in your own time and in whatever way you fancy, roll over onto your back. Hug the knees in, rock side to side. And then taking the arms out wide, palms facing down, straighten the legs, push flexed feet to sky. And just hold it here for a few breaths. So we've got a slight engagement of the core here. Bit of a stretch down the back of the legs. Keep the idea of the chest being open, the shoulder blades being held by the earth beneath. So you've still got this feeling of being relaxed and held in the upper body here. But the abs are gently holding your legs up, your feet pushing to sky. And then bend the knees, hug in, rock side to side. And then you've got option here. If you're struggling with your lower back, or if you tend to get lower back pain during abdominal exercises, you'll want to keep one foot down as you straighten the other. Otherwise, you can elongate, so you've got that scissoring with the legs. And what we're going to do from here, we're going to make a little yogi gun. So we've got our first fingers pointing and our thumbs as well, and everything else we're clasping, literally just making a little gun. And then we're reaching that above our head. And then as we breathe out, we're lifting the head and we're firing the gun down the center of the body. And then as we breathe in, we bring the gun back above. And then as we breathe out, we bring it to the side of the straightened leg. And then we breathe in and we come back to center. And we breathe out and we exchange the legs. Take a breath in. Breathe out, fire the gun down the center of the body. Breathe in, back, stretch. Breathe out down the side of the leg. Breathe in, reach it back. Breathe out, exchange the legs. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, center of the body. Breathe in, back to that stretch. Breathe out, side of body. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, exchange. Breathe in, reach. Breathe out, center of body. Breathe in, stretch. Breathe out, side of body. Breathe in, stretch. And then draw the knees in, rock side to side. And then choice here. You can either come just to lie in Shavasana, feet a little bit wider than the hips, bit of space under the armpits, palms up. Or if you enjoy the feeling of the lying down butterfly, where you've got your feet together, knees out wide, you can flop in that position for a couple of breaths. Some people find that uncomfortable without supports under their knees. So if that's you, then just flop in Shavasana for a couple of breaths. But if you enjoy the feeling of the lying down butterfly, just flop there for a few breaths. Belly loose. Close your eyes. Few moments of stillness. And then on your next out breath, roll over onto your side. Push yourself up to a kneeling position. Shoulders down. And then from here, we're going to come into gate pose. We draw the leg out long, taking the hand wherever it lands, and then we come over into a stretch on the sides of the body. And then from here, we're going to come into a side plank. So windmill, hands down. And you can either stay like this, or you can draw that foot behind the other one, lift the hip, keep the chest open. Couple of breaths here. Keep lifting those hips up, powering down with that hand into the earth. Lift up on the kneecaps. And then next out breath, bring that knee back to that start position and windmill back up to gate. Bring the hand down, and we'll do that on the other side. So coming into gate on the other side, we've got the foot behind us, foot out to the side, hand resting on the top of the leg, and into that side stretch. And then windmill the hands round and down. And again, you can either stay resting on the knee there, or you can bring that foot behind the other. Power down with the hand into the other, lift the hips, lift the kneecaps, lift the pelvic floor, chest open. Steady breaths here. Out breath, bring that knee back, windmill back, gate. And then breathing out, come into a cross-legged position or a position with one foot in front of the other, an easy seat. Sitting up tall, shoulders down. A couple of breaths here, full breaths out. And then walking the hands in front of you, coming into a stretch, a forward fold, stretch here, drop the head. Keep those hips, keep aiming to keep them powering down towards the earth. Next out breath, walk the hands back towards you. And then swap the feet over. And then come back down. So depending on how you've been sitting, you'll be feeling a stretch down the side of the glutes, around the hips. Drop the head. And again, keep encouraging those hips back and down towards the earth. Keep the belly loose. Breathing out slowly, vertebra by vertebra. Head floating up last. And then still moving fairly slowly, coming into a standing position. And we'll come into tree pose, bringing the weight onto the right foot. Begin with and gliding the leg up to wherever you want to stay this morning. Maybe it's there. Maybe you're bringing your foot all the way up. Or perhaps you like to tuck your foot into the hip there and come into a slight variation. Whatever feels good for you this morning. And then as ever, you can just have your hands at the heart. If that helps to keep you steady, or if you like the feeling of having the arms all the way up, hands together above the head. Get those shoulders down. And keep encouraging the hips to be open. Imagine there being plenty of space between the hips. Space in the chest. This knee is heading out towards the side there. And the foot is so firmly rooted into the earth. It's really imagining as though nothing could knock you over. Steady and still. And as always, find something to focus on. Use your vision to help keep you steady. It really makes a huge difference. And when you come to practicing this posture with your eyes closed, one way to do that is to picture something very specifically and clearly in your mind's eye, maybe the face of your child or something like that, and just focus on the details of it. And that helps to keep you steady. And of course, it helps to calm your mind and help you to feel steady and unflustered. So breathing out, coming down out of the posture, perhaps shaking out the hips, shaking out the legs, then starting to bring balance to the other side. So starting with just a little balance, working with the idea of that other foot being very firmly rooted, almost buried down into the earth. And then bringing the other foot up wherever you fancy putting it this morning. And again, hips open, chest open, face is relaxed. And then bringing the arms to wherever you want them to be this morning. And much more than focusing on what shape you're making or how you're looking, focus on that feeling of being balanced and steady. You might start to feel your breath settling down now that we're being less dynamic. Stillness coming into the body. And feeding out, bringing the hands down, bringing the foot down, shaking out the legs a little. And bring the feet together. And then just come up onto the tiptoes. And balance there for a few moments. Still working with that idea of balance. You might find it easier to balance now. You've been balancing on one side and then the other, and now you're balancing on both. And then bring the heels down, draw up on the kneecaps, draw up on the pelvic floor. Draw that belly button right back towards the spine. Draw the arms up, bring the hands together, look up to the thumbs, lifting everything up. Close your eyes, reaching all the way up to the sky. Space, reaching up, 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 up. And then breathing out, bring the hands down and then shake out the body. And then we'll come into Shavasana, into lying down relaxation. So getting whatever bits and bobs you need to feel comfortable. Perhaps a bolster under the knees, an extra layer, socks, a blanket. We should now just check your feet wider than hips. You've got lots of, or a feeling of space under the armpits. Palms facing up to the sky. And then usually as we lie down to begin with, we notice everything unsettling about our bodies. We notice the tension, maybe a buzzing. Perhaps we notice our mind chattering away. Just remind yourself that that doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're lying here. You've taken yourself to this place, this position. It's much more than most of us do on any day to give ourselves a break, to bring our attention to the fact that we do need to rest and we do need to stop, even just for a moment. So encourage that feeling of being held by the earth beneath, being held by gravity. Do you notice where your shoulders touch the floor beneath you? Just encourage that feeling of the weight being drawn down away into the earth there. And the same around the hips, the lower back. Just really allow yourself to be held. Same with the back of the hands and the heels. Just note that right now you are being held and you don't need to hold on. And just encourage any feelings of tension and stress flowing out of the body, falling away, out of the fingertips, out of the tips of the toes. And perhaps on every out breath, you imagine any tension or any stress flowing further out. Breathing out the tension. Fresh breath comes in. And breathing out any stress. And take an extra long breath out. When you think you're at the end of the breath, take a pause, breathe out more fully before the next breath comes in. And just do that a couple of times. Breath flows in, out breath goes, and then encourage a bit more breath to leave, or wallow in that pause before the in-breath comes in. And then, seeing as you're at home, you can of course stay there as long as you want to. And when you're feeling ready to, you might want to just take a stretch and slowly roll onto your side to come out of Shavasana. But obviously, you are most welcome to stay there. I won't witter on in that case. So if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me. And I hope that you have a really lovely week. And for those of you doing this in the recording, so you can join us, but hopefully this will suit you well.
Thanks, Gab.
Pleasure. Bye, everyone.